And cool. I think that recording has started. So, Happy New Year to everybody. Thank you so much for taking time out of your day, out of your lunch hour. I know that getting back after a long weekend, you probably have a lot to do. So, thank you for being here. Dolly and I wanted to talk about a really cool opportunity to not only promote your organization, but also to show the value of Homegrown Hillsborough and the network that we're building through the Florida State Fair. So we're going to go through kind of like the general pitch and hopefully answer any lingering questions that you may have. We're going to review some really important dates. So basically, we have a little less than a month before this event materializes. And then we're maybe going to talk about some of the different activities that we have planned. So to begin, the Florida State Fair is an annual event that happens in Tampa, and it draws around 500,000 people every year. So, just to clarify quickly, this is a state event. And so we're lucky that the Florida State Fair just happens to be in Tampa. But this is an event that showcases Florida ag throughout the state, but its permanent location is here. So, most people that attend are from Hillsborough or from the Tampa Bay area. Um, hey, Jen, I can hear myself echo. Can you go ahead and mute? And then if you can turn your camera off too, just to help with like bandwidth. Thank you. So like I said, the Florida State Fair is a statewide event, but it is permanently located here. And so therefore we have this opportunity to really kind of showcase Homegrown Hillsborough to a statewide audience, but a lot of people there will be from Tampa Bay. So the Florida State Fair is based in agriculture. That's kind of the whole point of the fair. Now it's kind of modernized to be more about like fair food and carnivals and just kind of a good old time. But agriculture is still really important to it. So throughout the 10 days of the fair, there's competitions, different 4-H clubs and FFA. Students will showcase different livestock, and that's still a big part of it. So we have the opportunity to connect with fair goers and, like I said, promote not only our individual efforts as your organization, but also the power of the food system network that we're building. Um, for those that don't participate in outreach efforts, so like tabling at events, it's really important because it allows you to be forward facing with the community that you hope to serve. It helps you practice your pitch. I think that maybe we've all heard the term elevator pitch in the context of businesses, which is basically if you have just the length of an elevator ride to tell somebody what you do, you want to make sure you get the important points across. And so having those kind of quick conversations helps you practice that pitch. So that way, when you're engaging with people, you can be clear and confident in knowing that your message is getting across. So this is a great way to practice that pitch with hopefully thousands of people. It allows you to inform residents of the efforts that you are participating in. So the work that we all do is really important and hopefully can be transformative for our community. The most effective way is to have people know about it and to utilize these services. So, I don't know about you all, but often when I go to events and I see different tables talking about the work they do, I maybe had no idea. And so it allows you to be able to get out there and talk to people and inform them of your service. Um, for those that are just entering, welcome, welcome. If you can go ahead and turn your camera off, that would be appreciated, just so that way we can help maintain bandwidth with everybody on. And then, yeah, just stay muted the whole time. We will open up for questions, though. And then outreach efforts are also really important because it gives you an opportunity to engage somebody for the long term. So this is a great place to ask somebody to sign up for your newsletter, to get them to learn about a upcoming workshop or volunteer opportunity, maybe to make a donation, maybe to let them know about the service you provide. So that kind of peer-to-peer direct promotion is going to help your organization be more effective and be more engaging. All right. Let me make sure I didn't skip anything. So the Florida State Fair actually runs about 11 days. So it starts on Thursday, February 8th. It goes through the week. So it starts on a Thursday weekend, the whole week, another weekend, and then on Monday it closes. And throughout those weekdays, there are some specialty days. So there's a day that is dedicated to schools, and at which point different schools across the state will organize and bus the kids in, and the fair is just for school kids. There's days for more like sensory specialized attendees. So the fair definitely has a lot of accommodations, a lot of different days. I encourage you, if you haven't ever been, to go, not only to participate in this, but also to go with your family. It is a fun time. And so Homegrown Hillsborough is going to be there on the weekends. So we're not planning on being there during the weekdays, just the weekends. So there's 2 weekends. There is Saturday, February 10th and Sunday, February 11th. That's weekend 1. And then the following weekend, Saturday, February 17th and Sunday, February 18th is the following weekend. So both Saturday and Sunday have the same shifts. So there is shift 1 and shift 2. So the first shift is the morning shift. That's from 10 a.m. to 1 p.m. And then the second shift is in the afternoon from 1 p.m. to 4 p.m. So all 4 days, Saturday, Sunday of the first weekend, Saturday, Sunday the second weekend, we're going to follow the same shift schedule. And so outside of those different shift days, there's a few other important dates that if you plan on participating, which we hope you will, that you will get on your calendar immediately. So today is one of them. And once again, thank you for taking the time to be with us today. The second important date is Friday, January 26th, which is next Friday, and that's the deadline to sign up to table. So our hope is that after this presentation, you're going to very clearly understand what we're asking you to do, and you can go back to your organization and determine if you are available, which shift you're available, and who's going to be there, because that's really important information that we need to know. And so in order to fully like sign up and register, you have to give us the name of the person who's going to be there. And that is so that way we know who to contact if anything changes. Last week, we saw a really brutal storm roll in overnight. That could happen again. And if so, we want to make sure that we have the right person who's going to be there. And so you need to decide as an organization who's going to be there and share that contact information with us. And we'll review the sign up sheet in just a second. But so you have until next Friday to sign up. As far as the shifts go, it will be a first come, first serve basis. So even though you can apply till next Friday, if somebody signs up tonight for the shift that you wanted, then they're going to get the priority. First come, first serve. The next important date after the deadline to sign up is Wednesday, February 7th, which is the day before the fair starts. And that's when we're going to meet at the fairgrounds at the exact location where we'll be during the fair. And we're going to do a dry run, which is basically just a very quick practice. And then we're going to go through some training about how to engage with the public, some of the things that might be important to say, some of the materials you might want to have. And so we have that right now scheduled from 10 to noon. It probably won't take all 2 hours, but we just want to make sure that we have enough time to answer everyone's questions to make sure that people are confident with that. So once again, get that date on your calendar because that's going to be a really informative time. This is actually kind of breaking news. Breaking news. There's a chance that we're actually going to be able to get some pretty big press from this. So I was talking with my media coordinator from Hillsborough County, and on the day of the dry run, they might come out and try to do some interviews with different partner organizations and get some B-roll footage of the different tables in order to use that to promote people to come to the state fair for both weekends. So not only is it important to be there to learn about what we're actually doing and how we're doing it, but you also might be able to make your TV debut if you are able to attend. So once again, important date, Wednesday, February 7th, 10 a.m. at the fairgrounds. And then once again, those different weekends, day 1, weekend 1, day 2, weekend 1, all of that. We just talked about that. So those are really important dates. If you intend to be part of this, all of these dates are something that you need to have on your calendar and you need to monitor closely. So what are we doing? And so Homegrown Hillsborough works to promote the entire food system. And so we like to talk about it in this way that the work that we do as individual organizations impacts the other organizations that are in this food system, that are in this network. And so one of these terms that we've been trying to really amplify and start to kind of uh, disseminate into the community is this term of sectors. So for those that don't know, the food system can be broken down into 6 sectors. And so the graphic that I have on the screen right now is actually going to get updated to reflect basically a better naming system. But I'm sure some of you have seen this graphic before. And this is going to be something that really is the foundation for our food system work. And so the sectors are production, growing food, processing, turning raw ingredients into edible forms of food. Processing is also important in the context of food safety, all the different adulterations that can happen between raw produce and edible forms. Distribution is not only like the supply chain, how does it go from being processed to a grocery store, but distribution also touches on community outreach efforts and interventions around food security. Marketing is all about enterprising and sales, different forms of marketing that consumers can engage in to support the local food system. Consumption is about recipes and culinary expertise, but it's also really focused on nutrition. So we take all of these ingredients that are grown and processed, and we put them on our plates to feed our bodies, and the importance of nutrition and integrating health into those meals. And then lastly is waste recovery, which is not only the organic waste that's part of the food system, but also the material waste. So think of single-use plastic, think of glass bottles, think of packaging. Those kind of things are all part of the waste recovery aspects of the food system. So each of your organizations will be categorized based on a sector. And this should be a little familiar to you because when you join the online platform, you are asked to identify which sectors you're part of. And so this is something that we actually, when Dolly and I were starting to work on this, we went to the online platform and we were able to filter out our members based on sectors to make sure that we had enough members in each of them to make sure we had coverage. And a lot of you all showed up in multiple because the work that we do often isn't just in one silo, it is multiple aspects, which is what makes us a food system effort, is that, we're all kind of doing a little bit. Each component of the food system is represented throughout our individual organizations, but also through our partnerships. And so to that end, when you sign up, if your organization does multiple, qualifies for multiple of these sectors, if we are at capacity for production, but you also maybe do some marketing or nutrition education, then we might ask you to be part of the marketing or consumption sector, depending on availability. And so we're going to try to work with everybody and get their preferences, but because we do kind of this intersectional dynamic work, I think a lot of your organizations can qualify for several of them. So so I am working to update this graphic here that will reflect the new naming system for the sectors. And then basically this image here is going to be our passport. So we're going to get this printed in a very kind of like faded aspect and outline. And then as participants arrive, they're going to check in at the Homegrown Hillsborough table. They're going to receive instructions and they're going to receive a printout of this passport, at which point they'll then go and visit all of the different sectors and learn about the individual work that you do and how your sector contributes to the food system. Upon completion, they're going to go back to the check-in table. They're going to show us their complete passport, and then they're going to get a free prize for participating. And so hopefully it'll be fun, hopefully be engaging. On the back of this, we're hoping to have a QR code to stay engaged. We want to make sure they're taking a survey, and then make sure that they can stay engaged with our work. So this will be something they can take home and hold on to, and hopefully will solidify not only the Home Garden Hillsborough branding, but also these different sectors and how they all work together. So I just kind of reviewed these, so I'm not going to spend a lot of time. I am going to send this recording and the presentation out so you can kind of look a little more deeply. But just to kind of make sure that we're all on the same page with these different sectors. So production is primary food production of crops and animals from agriculture and fishing. So that can be a community garden. That can be trail bale farms that produces animal protein. That could be Brick Street Farms if they wanted to do vertical, if they wanted to come and represent their hydroponic indoor shipping containers. That can be all kinds of different things. Anything that is concerned with the production of crops and animals for agriculture and fishing. Processing, like I talked about, is taking raw foods and ensure that they're not spoiled before they reach the customer. So that's that food safety aspect, and converting it into useful or edible forms. And so, sure, you probably go and buy raw tomatoes all the time, but you also buy salsa. You also buy ketchup. You also buy pizza sauce, and that's kind of the part of that processing. Distribution is the bridge between the people who produce the food and those who sell it. And so the connection between farmers and marketing outlets. It also touches on community nutrition interventions such as food banks and meal sites. Marketing is related to the goal of promoting sales. So for us, a lot of marketing is a grocery store. That's where most of us go and get our food. But there's also farmers markets. There's also community support agriculture operations. There's also an opportunity to buy in bulk. You can buy an entire cow and have that split up, and the per unit price is cheaper. So these are different marketing aspects. And so marketing might be a grocery store, but it also might be a farmer's market. It might be a store that has an on-site retail, or a farm that has an on-site farm stand or U-Pick. Consumption is food that is ready to prepare, or using knowledge to prepare food. And this is where nutrition is emphasized. And then waste recovery is the management of natural resources for long-term security, and it includes both organic waste and material waste. And so what to expect when you're participating in this in these 2 weekends. So we're going to be located at the Keep Tampa Bay Beautiful Learning Garden, which is a really beautiful space. Keep Tampa Bay Beautiful maintains it throughout the year. They have staff that is out there. Dolly and I were out there a few weeks ago, and it was very lush and plentiful and abundant. Keep Tampa Bay Beautiful is going to be doing some different activities and events throughout the week. And so they will be there during the week, during the fair, but on the weekends, they're not going to be there. So it's going to be basically just the Home Garden Hillsborough team. And so we'll kind of have this garden backdrop as kind of a way to show people what community garden looks like, what small scale production looks like, and just to kind of have a nice outside element. We're going to be in a covered pavilion. So you can see in the picture that it is just a pavilion with a roof. It doesn't have walls on the side of it. And so, right now it's a little chilly outside. And so if this weather continues to be this way, then it might be a little chilly then too. So we want to prepare to be outside. We want to make sure we're wearing sunscreen and wearing a hat if that's something that you need to do. You want to make sure that you're going to be warm or cold, however you need to regulate that. But ultimately, we will be outside, but we will be covered in a pavilion. So you can kind of see what that pavilion looks like. There's going to be 7 tables. So there's going to be a check-in where people are going to pick up their passport. They're going to learn about Home Garden Hillsborough, and then they're going to be advised to go to the different tables to learn about the different sectors. They don't need to go in order. So that way, if they show up and there's 12 people at the production table and nobody's at the distribution table, they can go and start with distribution and complete that cycle however they see fit. But there's going to be 7 tables. One of them is the check-in, check-out. The rest, the 6 of them, will be for the different sectors, and that's where you'll be depending on which shift you sign up for. Each sector is going to have a tablecloth. We're going to have the Homegrown Hillsborough brand tablecloth, but the materials on the table is going to be what you bring. So even though it says Homegrown Hillsborough on the tablecloth, all of the materials there can be your organization's materials. So whether that is information on the services you provide, fun facts, little free giveaways, upcoming events or workshops, all of that is going to be up to you. And you're going to be able to tell people about the specific work that you do and how it contributes to the greater network, the greater food system. There's going to be instructions on the activity. So each of these different tables is going to have a small, easy activity to kind of make it fun and engaging. And Dolly and I have brainstormed some of those activities already. And if we have time at the end, we're going to review them. If not, we're going to make sure that everybody knows what they're doing a little later. And then every table is going to have a self-inking stamp. And so for those that don't know, a self-inking stamp is basically, it's kind of like a pen where the ink is already in it. And so you don't have to have a pad of ink and a stamp and a cleaner. You don't have to worry about anything. It's just a boop, done, and then it's moving on. And so we'll be filling in those little sector outlines with the different stamps. And so just kind of like, just to help kind of visualize what this could all look like, this is not a like firm script. This is just kind of my experience of tabling and what it could look like, and will help you practice, get comfortable. So on that dry run, we're going to have people kind of go and visit other tables and do a little bit of role play. So you'll be able to see what this looks like in real life, and you'll be able to practice. But at the end of the day, we're just having conversations with the community. So if I am at the production table, I'm representing the coalition of, or actually I'm going to be representing Vista Gardens. I'm at my shift, and so someone's going to walk up to me, and I'm going to say, hello and welcome to the production table of the production sector of Homegrown Hillsborough. I'm the community garden manager for Vista Community Garden. We grow over 1,000 pounds of produce. We teach people how to garden. We have these really cool workshops. Have you ever gardened before? As a way to kind of just engage with your participant. We're kind of imagining this will probably be a handful of like kids and families. And so, you want to ask them, you want to introduce yourself, and then you want to throw a question back to them. Have you ever gardened before? Do you like fruits and vegetables? What's your favorite vegetable? Those kind of things. And so then they'll answer, and you'll say, thank you so much for sharing that with me. Well, it's really important that we value production, because it's not only a big part of our economy here, farming, but also it's a great way to learn about new fruits and vegetables. And then you'll kind of transition into the activity. And so for this one, we have a cute little game about what different produce that's grown in Hillsborough County. And so, we'll say, do you know how many crops are grown in Hillsborough County? And they'll say 12 or 1,000 or whatever. And we'll say, oh, great guess, but the answer is 60. I didn't include that here, but over 60 crops are grown in Hillsborough County, and it contributes nearly $500,000 to our economy, and it's really important. So it's a little bit of trying to kind of plant the seed for people to realize how important our food system is to not only our well-being, but also our economy, our community. And then you'll chit chat with them, you'll do the little activity, and then you'll give them the stamp, and then they'll move on to the next, and you'll do it all again. So like I said, we're going to practice all of this. We're going to practice the activities. You'll be really comfortable, but basically you're just going to be out there, and you're going to be a friendly face, and you're going to use it as an opportunity to educate the participants on the food system as well as your organization. And so, if they say, oh my gosh, I live close to Vista and I've never actually been there, then you can say, well, sign up for our newsletter and we can make sure that you know about it. Or you can use an opportunity to say, we're actually having a garden volunteer day the first Saturday of the month. So, go ahead and show up. We'll see you there. So it's a way to be able to let people know about the work that you do. So how do you sign up? So after this, I will be sending out a registration link. I'll be posting it on the online platform. I'll be sending it out through the Homegrown Hillsborough newsletter. And if you don't get it for some reason, let me know and I'll send it to you. But this is going to be the process for solidifying your attendance. So it's really easy. We need the email of the person that's submitting it. So maybe this is your supervisor, maybe this is you, your organization's name. Make sure you're spelling things correctly. I know that it sounds silly, but I've gotten RSVPs and registrations that have people's names spelled wrong or their organizations, and I'm not necessarily double checking that. I'm gonna trust that you took the 3 seconds it takes to make sure you spelled something correctly, and I'm gonna put that on the poster on the event. And so make sure you're spelling everything correctly. Make sure that you're calling your organization what you want to be called. If I'm calling it something incorrectly, this is your chance to make sure that I get it correct. The day of point of contact. So if you go back to your team and you decide that Sally is going to be there on Saturday for the first shift, if you're filling this out, your email will go there, but Sally's name needs to be at the point of contact, and Sally's cell phone number needs to be in this area here, because like I said, if weather rolls in, if something happens where we're no longer going to be there, or parking changes or anything like that, we want to make sure we have the contact of the person who's going to be there, so that way we don't have to do a big run around and find the right person. So that's all pretty innocuous. That's pretty simple. The sector that you would like to represent. And so I'm going to ask, I know that most of us are actually engaged in production, a lot of community gardens, a lot of small farms, things like that, school gardens. And so if you can, find another sector, I would encourage you to do that, because I think that we'll have more than enough coverage for production. The other ones might need a little bit of help. So if you have a school garden, but you also do nutrition education, then go ahead and sign up for consumption. If you have a school garden and you are teaching people how to turn strawberries into jam, sign up for processing. And so just take a second to think of what sector. You can only sign up for one, but then if we have too many signed up for one, then Dolly and I will reach out to you and ask which one you could also fit. And then the shifts that you're available for. So you can sign up for multiple shifts here. I would love for you to sign up for as many shifts as you want. I definitely think that having more coverage than less is better. If we get a huge influx of people signing up and we have more than enough, then we'll reach out and say, thank you so much for signing up for 4 shifts. We actually only need you for 1. And so we'll let you know kind of where that falls, but sign up for all the shifts that you are available for. And then we do need you to be there for the entire duration of the shift. So if you can't make it from 10 to 1, then unfortunately this probably won't be the best opportunity for you, because we want to make sure that everybody has the opportunity to complete the passport, and we want to make sure that we have enough coverage. It also, there is going to be some quick setup and set and breakdown. For you, it'll mostly be like the tables will be set up, the tablecloths will be on that. And if not, those take, a minute to do, but we want to make sure that you have enough time to set up your displays and materials on the tables, and make sure that you're really confident and ready when people start showing up. So it'll be about 30 minutes max, probably 15 minutes on each side. But in your head, you should be planning to, if you have a 10 a.m. shift, you should be planning to arrive in the parking lot by 9:30, so that way you can walk to the pavilion, get set up, get comfortable, maybe go to the bathroom before, fill up your water bottle, things like that. And then lastly, does your organization have any small freebies to give away? So we're going to be, we're going to try to utilize like a wheel, like a spin a wheel, when they complete their passport, they can go up and spin it and get a prize. But this can be things like, branded reusable bags or water bottles, or Homegrown Hillsborough has like kitchen equipment. If you are a business, so if you're a consultant or a business, maybe you want to offer like a discount code for anybody that shows up. Maybe you want to, anything that you would be able to donate that can help make this cool and exciting and incentivize people to complete the passport. And so I think a lot of times, organizations that are engaged in tabling and outreach, they sometimes have a lot of freebies that they can help give away, pins and like I said, bags, anything like that. So if you have a freebie, obviously it's not required, but we just want to make sure that we're giving you the opportunity to promote yourself. And then lastly, when people sign up for the passport, we're going to ask them to sign up for the Homegrown Hillsborough newsletter. And when they do, there's going to be a specific section that says the State Fair Passport. And so that way we can send them a follow-up email with links for resources. So that might be your website, that might be how to enroll in SNAP, that might be the community garden map. So any resource that you want to share with your participants, you can share with them at the moment in the table, but we're also going to compile a nice clean follow-up email that says, thanks for coming by and participating. Here are some follow-up resources that were mentioned during the event. So if you want to include anything, then go ahead and include it here. And then if you have multiple links, then go ahead and separate them by a comma, and we'll make sure that that gets all pretty and sent out. Donation links, anything like that. And then all of this is due next Friday, January 26th. So it's really important that, like I said, after this conversation, if you're interested, which I hope you are, you'll go back to your organizations, you'll start firming up who can be where and when. You can see if you have any freebies to give. You can start compiling those resources and then submit this no later than January 26th, that it is a first come, first serve basis. So the sooner you get in, the more likely is that you will be able to get the shift in the sector that you want. So this is a really good opportunity to build our organizations. We all know how valuable the work that we provide to our community is, but sometimes breaking through to a bigger audience can be really hard. And so this is a way to meet people that maybe we don't normally encounter. It's also going to be thousands of people. And so, casting a wide net, this will hopefully result in more client retention, name brand recognition, maybe some future partners, maybe some future donors. And so this is a really great opportunity to build our organizations and our network. I highly recommend that you have a strategy to engage people long term. So when I'm tabling, people are always telling me how much they love community gardens and how they really want to be part of one, but they just don't know where to start. And so if we have those conversations, as a organization, you should say, great, we'll sign up for our newsletter. Whether that's them writing it, or what I would encourage you to do is to have like a QR code to scan, or have a flyer for your workshop, or different referrals, anything like that. You want to see, you want to make sure that this well-received moment can continue into the long term. And so if you need help with creating engagement materials, just let me know. I can help with some printing and displays, like up to a certain extent. Something as simple as having something like this with a little plastic display, a QR code, your brand, I can help you with this. And I can do this for free for you. So if you don't have that, then let's get together and make sure that you do. So that way you can continue to engage this audience and to build your memberships and expand your impact. But if you do need help with that stuff, let me know as soon as possible. So that way we can make sure that it looks how you want. We get all the right logos, we can test everything and have it printed and ready. So the next steps, like I said, are to work within your organizations and identify who will be in attendance and when. Then you're going to sign up through the sign up link that I'm going to send out immediately upon this Lunch and Learn's completion. If you need help with anything, or you're still kind of confused, schedule time with me. There's a link in the online platform where you can schedule time with me. You can also just email me. You're going to want to plan to be at that dry run and training day. Like I said, we might be able to get some press from it. So it might be a way to even further expand your effort and get your name out there. you're going to want to create, gather, and print any materials that you might need. And then you're going to anticipate instructions for the passport activity. We're going to get all the materials. We're going to train you how to do it. So the activity hopefully isn't like freaking anybody out or overwhelming anybody. And we might even have time today to kind of quickly talk about that. But basically we'll be following up with more guidance on what that activity looks like. And that's kind of it. And so I want to open the floor now to questions. And then if we don't have any questions, then I think Dahlia might try to quickly review some of the activities. Cool. Okay, Ellen?
Yes. Can you hear me?
Yep.
Okay, great. Thank you. So in the past, I've been able to recruit some students. Oh, my name's Ellen, and I'm with USF Health, and I coordinate the USF Health Service Corps. And basically, our students help with volunteering in the community.
That's
so
great.
in the past, what we've done is Dahlia's been so kind, thank you, Dahlia, to welcome our students to come to her events. And what's worked out well is when we've had a food safety and nutrition table along with her wonderful events. So in the past, we basically had a display, and the students have helped out with food safety for the general community. However, with this, I think that our students could help you out as volunteers, not to set up their own table, because it seems to me like you all are the experts. So what I wanted to ask is, do you think that you could use any student volunteers? In other words, we wouldn't set up our own table. We would help you out, and I could have a sign up where some students could help you out, because you're the experts, and we
Well,
would learn from you.
yeah, and so two things. One, I think that we would love your students to be part of like maybe the processing sector if we don't have representation other places, because I think that food safety is something that people don't always think about. But then if we do have full coverage, then I think having your students available to help with like the check-in table or even just kind of like available on the scene, I would definitely love to continue this conversation. And we'll see kind of what the sign up looks like. But Ellen, I very much appreciate that offer. And yes, my answer is yes. I would love to bring your students into this and have them involved in some way.
Great, and then maybe we can set up a time to talk, not by email, but by phone, so we
Yep.
can brainstorm more sometime at your convenience or Dahlia's convenience.
Yeah, that would be great. Thank you, Ellen. Thank you for joining.
Thank you so much.
And just to add, Ellen, I think for the sake of the registration form, maybe selecting dates that you think students would be available, and then that way we can coordinate from there.
Exactly, like maybe one Saturday or one Sunday afternoon.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Whatever. Oh, also, you feel free to let me know, please, which day you think you would have the greatest need for volunteers. Because I checked and we don't have anything. I think there's some students actually who are helping out in an event on the 17th. There's a big event for families on February 17th. So maybe the other weekend.
Cool. That'd be great.
Thank you.
Thank you, Ellen.
Thank you.
Does anybody have any questions about like the game plan or the passport or the sectors?
Hey, Monica.
Hey, Will.
Do you have, or is there like a prize or an incentive for people to bring the passports back to you completed? Or is it just going to be for their own information and they'll do it?
That's where those like freebies are going to come in. At the very end, when they return it, they're going to either spin the wheel that Dahlia may or may not have, or we're just going to have like a table of various items. So I don't have them on me right now, but Homegrown Hillsborough actually got a bunch of branded like kitchen equipment. So we got a cutting board, a measuring cup, a vegetable peeler, a measuring spoon, a hot pad. So those kind of small things, that's going to be the incentive for people to finish it and go back and get their prize at the end. And then any other freebies that are donated. So like I said, if there's like a business that wants to offer a 10% discount on a first purchase, and they want to create like a code, we can pass out those as freebies. I have some books, just random stuff around the extension office, but seed packets or starters or anything at all. So that's where those freebies are going to come in, is that's going to be the incentive to finish it. And when they check in, we're going to let them know that when they complete it and they come back to us, then they'll be eligible to get one of the freebies.
Perfect. Thank you.
Thank you. Cool. Well, I'm going to go ahead and give Dahlia the screen to kind of quickly review some of these activities, and then we can talk about it from there. So.
Is my screen appearing, Monica?
It is, but yeah, we can see everything on your screen. Okay, perfect. Yep.
Okay, perfect. So like Monica mentioned, we'll have the passport kind of in this like grayed out or lower opacity, however you say that word. And people will be able to get stamps on that as they go through the different stations. But essentially, once they sign up for the newsletter, they'll receive their bingo card passport, and then they'll have the opportunity to go through the different stations. And so each station will have a fun fact associated with it, so they can kind of collect this information as they go through. And these are kind of just a template right now. We're still looking for the best kind of information to give. And if people have suggestions based on their sector, please feel free to forward those over, and we're happy to include them. But for the first activity in production and growing, we're going to focus in around the pizza herb. So this is a really familiar or easy concept for kids to understand, of associating herbs with the things that they find on their pizza. And so essentially having them identify the ones existing in the pot using popsicle sticks, and then having the opportunity to potentially propagate their own little cutting into a larger seed tray. And so we're not having participants take home plants, because we just received feedback that, having asparagus isn't necessarily like Trappist dirt throughout the entire fair might not be the best idea. But this will be a way that they can still do that propagation action, and then we can utilize those propagated herbs for our own individual community gardens and whatnot. In the section of processing, we'll have participants match an ingredient that they would find at the grocery store, a product, to the processing process that it takes place to make that happen. So for example, flour and milling flour would be the correct answer. And then juice is blending, sauerkraut is fermentation, and so forth. And so it'll be a mix and match, a matching exercise to match the product to that processing technique. In distribution, this will be a fairly simple one where they will stack. So obviously this is related to the food chain, but we'll have aspects of the supply chain of food, and then they'll have to stack the order in which that happened. So, from farmer to packer and shipper to manufacturer to distributor and so forth. And there'll be some various different patterns. So as we know, the only retail outlet is not the grocery store. We have farmers markets, we have convenience stores, we have things like a food bank. And so they'll have different options, and as long as that, stacking process equals a correct one, right? We're not going from manufacturer to a farmer, we're going from farmer to manufacturer. In marketing and this marketing section, we're going to give participants monopoly money to spend on groceries. And so the average American family of 4 spends $30 per day on food. And so that's how much we'll be giving them. And then they'll be able to purchase groceries based on what's in front of them at price points. Kind of just go through the exercise of what does actual money buy you at the grocery store? Because for kids, that's a really important concept to get them familiar with early on. And then in consumption, we're utilizing this pretty cool photo journal, I guess, that an artist did, where they photograph kind of what someone ate in a day. And so if you actually visit the link that is Peter Menzel Photography, it's the What I Eat in a Day portrait gallery. And it's really quite beautiful. It's all around the world about what individuals eat in a day. And so having things available for the participant to photograph right there, obviously all non-perishable or non-refrigerated produce, and we'll switch out the produce at the end of the weekend. But having them photograph what is it that they eat in a day, and then the goal is that we'll be able to actually send them home with that photograph, as well as maintain one of those photographs if they are willing to for ourselves, and have this really cool output from their participation in the activity. And then finally, in waste recovery, the average American creates 6 pounds of waste each day. And so we will have a garbage bin filled with 6 pounds worth of garbage. And then they'll have to sort that between recycling, compost, and garbage. And so things like, plastic water, aluminum pop can, a t-shirt, batteries, styrofoam, fruits and veggie scraps, which will be like plastic fruits and veggie scraps, but having them sort through these different things to really be able to visualize not only what 6 pounds of garbage is, but kind of learn some of those best practices in waste recovery. And so those will be kind of the activities that we have right now. Again, we're open to suggestions if someone feels really passionately about an activity that they do with their community and would like to see that translated to Homegrown Hillsborough. But otherwise, these are the activities we'll be going with. And then we'll be sure to provide you with not only the fun fact and the activity, and of course all the supplies, but we'll update some more talking points that you could potentially use to continue the conversation if participants are interested, as well as resources specific to that sector. And so again, when you're filling out the registration form and you're providing resources, you'll see those mirrored here on the individual tables as well, and so that people could directly access some of this information. Does anyone have any questions about the activities? And of course, you'll be receiving these later on, and so you'll be able to review them at a greater depth as well.
Hi, Dahlia. This is Steve McKinnon with Echo. And your first couple of examples where you're stacking cups or matching things seem to be really quick, which I think is going to be kind of important as these visitors go to each table. The photo thing, where it's interesting, I think you better figure out how long that's going to take.
Yeah, so we don't anticipate it being like a large rush of people. The Learning Garden's kind of off to the side of the state fair. And so part of the reason why we're activating the space is because we really want people to start being drawn out to that area. But great consideration. I mean, we could always plan to have 2 different sections of the table. So like there could be 2 participants doing it at the same time. But yeah, we don't anticipate like, 50 people being out there at once. It'll be probably like more close to, 5, 10 people kind of milling around the garden at one time. And, at the first day, if we see that that's a problem, maybe we switch our idea as well. So any suggestions in that area, we're happy to have a backup list of activities if we see after that first day things aren't really working out.
Yeah, I see that Heather said that she felt similarly about the photo thing. And so yeah, we're definitely gonna practice these. And if we say like that, yeah, that's just gonna be a big bottleneck, or maybe it's too expensive to pull off, then we'll probably, go to like a My Plate activity. That's something about, drawing how much, the right nutrients or something like that. But that's why the importance of this dry run is should be a top priority, because we do want to make sure that those things happen smoothly. Less about being a bottleneck, more people's attentions. Yeah. And so that's a great point. And I think that a lot of times when we envision like certain activities, they seem so easy and obvious to us, and then they seem less easy and obvious to the participants. So yeah, we'll definitely practice that, and we do have enough time right now to make some backup plans. So but I think that input's really great, and that's why we wanted to have these kind of conversations. So thanks for contributing. Cool. So our time is coming to an end. I do want to respect everybody and make sure that we're off in time. And so I hope that this was clarifying. I hope that it's exciting. I think it's really cool. I think that it can be something that galvanizes people, brings them into our network, expands the impact of our work, gets that name recognition out, helps promote your individual organizations. If you have volunteers that are looking to get more engaged, but maybe for some reason like manual physical work isn't a good fit for them, maybe something like this. If you ever have high school kids that talk about needing hours, this could be a really good thing to get people involved. So hopefully it will not only strengthen your organizations, but it'll also strengthen our network. And I see that Dahlia has a question.
Yeah, since we have the audience, some good input from Steve and Heather about the activity. So one element that I forgot to add, and tell me if you think this will help kind of mitigate or kind of be a good pivot in the event that it's bottlenecking, but we are planning on ordering the books that have the photographs of what I eat in a day that were already like printed. So it's a big, hardcover photography book. And so we could always potentially pivot to them flipping through that and maybe like writing down their own things, or, a variation where they're just focusing in on looking at the already existing photographs that of what I eat in a day to be able to think through kind of the things that they eat in a day too. So I forgot that will be a material that we're anticipating for that station as well.
Hey, I had one more question if we have time. So if I'm going to volunteer to man a booth for a 4-hour window, can it just be me, or can I bring someone with me?
Either. You could definitely bring someone with you. I would say that, two's company, 3 might be a little crunched, but honestly, like that's totally fine. I have a handful of like camp chairs, but we'll also, get those materials and stuff like that. So yeah, bring as many people I think as you would like. And if you can only do a few hours, but maybe one of your peers can do another, as long as there's somebody there throughout the duration of that entire shift, that works for me.
And to add to that as well, you'll be getting state fair tickets to attend this volunteer opportunity. And so that ticket's valid like after you're done your shift as well. So if you are, bringing 2 or 3 of you, let's say, you'll all receive tickets to enter the fair, and then you can go enjoy the fair post your shift there as well. Ellen,
Do you have another question?
Yeah. Yes, please. So that was actually what I was going to ask. So thank you for clarifying, because that's how I can entice the students to come. And someone had just mentioned, was it you, Steve, that mentioned that was it you, Steve, that mentioned you wanted to have a table?
Ellen, I'll probably be there. I'm not sure when yet, but I'll figure it out in the next 24 hours.
Great. So that's where I think our students can help out, where someone has a need for volunteers.
Mm-hmm.
And in other words, I think I can provide you with some volunteers for that first weekend. And you can all just tell me exactly what you need.
That would be great, Ellen. So why don't we kind of like act as if we do need that. And then I'm always of the impression it's easier to give people back their time than it is to kind of get it from them last moment. So if you want to start working with your students to get them ready and available, then the more the merrier. Maybe we'll be able to put them to use in some form. So that would be fantastic.
Great. And if I can just stay on with you for 2 minutes afterwards, that'd be great.
Yeah, that works for me.
Thank you.
Thank you. All right, so I do want to go ahead and probably close out. So once again, if you want to talk to me or Dahlia, feel free to reach out to us individually. If you want to schedule some time with me, there's a link in the online platform. If you have any concerns that you didn't voice today, but you want to share with us, please let us know. And then I will be sending out the sign up link along with the link to this video as well to be able to watch and get comfortable. So please sign up. I think it's going to be great. I think we're going to get some good press out of it. For those of you that know David Whitwam, he has like a regular segment that he does on one of the local news stations, and we're working with him to also do a feature. So hopefully that'll be, you know, 2 forms of media. And yeah, and then we'll also, I'm going to get my photographer from Extension out there. So once again, I hope this is something that can help solidify and galvanize your organizations, and we can really show the value of the network. So I'm going to go ahead and stop recording now. And if you need